Thank you, Tom. So, last week, feeding of the 5,000. But not last week, just now. Because immediately, so Jesus had fed 5,000 people miraculously with just a few fish and bread. And immediately, boys, he sends his disciples off in a boat. And he goes up on a mountainside to pray. And they're in a boat. And the wind starts blowing. And that makes waves appear. And it's choppy. I mean, some of the disciples are fishermen. They know what they're doing. But they're getting worried on the water. And they're a long way out on the lake. And so Jesus goes to them. Does he borrow a boat? No. What does he do? He steps onto the water. And he walks across the lake until the disciples see him and they say,
"A ghost!"
"It's a ghost!" And they are terrified. And then Jesus says, "Don't be afraid, it is I." And Peter says,
"If it is you, tell me to come to you."
"Come." So Peter steps onto the water and he actually walks on water. But then he sees the wind and he's afraid.
Ah! Ah! Save me, Jesus! Save me, Jesus!
And Jesus reaches down a hand and pulls him out of the water. And he safely gets into the boat. And they're all in the boat, and immediately the wind dies down. And the disciples are amazed. And they say, "Surely you are the Son of God." They worship him. What a thing! Did you like that? That was fun. Tom volunteered, honest. I didn't make him do that. He wanted to do it. You couldn't just dry in the sun, Tom. It's a lovely hot day. I'm sure you'll be fine. So just add a little bit of drama to the whole thing there. This is an amazing, remarkable miracle. It's a wonderful event. Now, I told you last week, I believe in miracles. Do you remember? Because I do. I believe in miracles. And the reason I told you I believed in miracles last week was because it seems it's part of the package. I believe in a God who created the world. I believe in a God who redeems the world. I have no issue with that God having supernatural power and being able to work miracles. A miracle being something that's normally impossible for the rest of us, but something that God can make happen. But there's another reason. There's actually lots of reasons. There are more reasons why I believe in miracles. Do you think, Jack? Are you having a snooze? So there's more reasons I believe in miracles. And one of them is, how could people make this stuff up? Do you know? Now, I know that's not conclusive, because people do make stuff up. They make stuff up all the time. But why would these disciples make up a story about Jesus walking on water? Why would they, firstly? And then secondly, even when people do make up stories, they don't die for it. Why would the disciples die for this? So the disciples go on after Jesus' death and resurrection, his ascension, and they form the early church, and they are persecuted for it. They're punished for it. They're imprisoned for it. Many of them are executed. Now, I don't know about you, but if it was me, and I was just getting near that chopping block, or however they wanted to kill him, I think I'd say, actually, chaps, just to be clear, I made that up. Can I go home now? They didn't say that. They said, I believe this. This is the truth. Why would they make that up and die for it? And lastly, why would you listen to anything else they had to say if they're lying to you here? If the gospel writers have made up a story, why are we interested in their opinions on Jesus, or their opinions on God, or their moral teaching? Why are we interested in anything they have to say if they're a bunch of liars who like making up mythical stories? I believe in miracles. But let's just put that to one side. And I want to look at the wonderful hopefulness of this miracle, of this event, of Jesus' relationship with his disciples here. First, the wonderful, hopeful thing here is Jesus has power over nature. That's what this miracle shows us. We see that he has power over sickness when he heals people. We see that he has power over food when he feeds people. And here, this isn't something that's happened in a person's body. Jesus can walk on water. Jesus can calm the waves. It's stunning, and the disciples thought so. Second, Jesus isn't cross with the disciples. I really love that. He is not cross with them that they are afraid. He's not cross with their fear. You'd think he'd be, oh, come on, recognize me. Why are you afraid? Why are you thinking I'm a ghost? Don't you know who I am? No, he doesn't say that. He says, do not be afraid. He says, take courage. It is I. Do not be afraid. And then, he isn't cross at their doubt. Do you know, Peter's like, well, if it's you. And then Peter's like, testing him. Well, I'll believe you if you make me walk on water. And then Peter does walk on water, and then he doubts, and Jesus isn't cross. He puts out his hand, he takes him, he says, oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt? We can apply that to now, this wonderful hopefulness, because I think a lot of us have learned to be a bit more scared of nature than we used to be. I don't mean the trees and the bunny rabbits. I mean this disease. We're all quite concerned, aren't we? We see the power of things that we used to think we could control with science and medicine and hygiene. And we find that we can't control that. So we get scared. We know what it is to fear. And we know what it is to doubt, don't we? I've learned over the last few weeks how fear and doubt can start kind of ruling your mind, giving you strange dreams, giving you anxiety about things you can't control. Now, Jesus doesn't mind. He doesn't mind that we are scared, that we're fearful, that we doubt. He says, take courage. He says, I'm with you. It is I. He says, do not be afraid. He says, come to me. So Peter goes to him. He says, come to Peter, and Peter steps on the water. And it's amazing because he actually walks on the water. And then he's scared of the wind. That seems strange to me. I think I'd be more scared of the water. But he's on the water and he's scared of the wind. So he begins to doubt and he begins to sink. But what does he do as he begins to sink? He says,
Help me, Jesus!
Lord, save me. Isn't that a weird, beautiful, very human mix of faith and doubt? Don't we all get that? Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. I'm sinking because of a lack of faith, but you are not. You can save me. Save me, Lord, is what Peter says. He has that mix. He has faith and he has doubt. Lord, save me. And Jesus pulls him from the water. Oh, you of little faith, why do you doubt? Jesus is building up his faith. He's encouraging him. He's giving him examples of where faith can get you, and he's helping him when he fails. And they get into the boat and the wind dies down, and this is remarkable. The disciples worship Jesus. This is a man they eat with, they drink with, they walk with. They do all normal things together, and then they worship him. They realize that he is so much more than a man, and they say, truly, you are the Son of God. Up to this point, they're probably just thinking, okay, you're a wonderful teacher, you're a lovely guy, God works through you, but now they're saying, truly, you are the Son of God. Now, I don't know if you've read this book, because I haven't. It's by John Ortberg. John Ortberg wrote a book called If You Want to Walk on Water, You Have to Get Out the Boat. Now, I probably should have read the book, but I just like the title. It's kind of a fun title. And I guess what the point of it is if you want to see a miracle, you've got to take a risk. You've got to step out. Like Peter actually shows a great deal of courage in stepping out. But it's a bit rude to criticize a guy whose book I haven't even read. But I think the title should be longer. I think it should be, if you want to walk on water, you have to get out of the boat when Jesus tells you to. Because the whole point of this miracle isn't, hey guys, let's get on a ferry and jump in the sea and see what happens. Jesus will save me. It isn't just take a stupid risk because you've decided that Jesus will save you. Because that isn't what happens here. Peter asks Jesus. Jesus says, come to me. So sometimes faith is spelt R-I-S-K. You probably all heard that before. Other times faith is spelt O-B-E-D-I-E-N-C-E. Did you follow that? O-B-E-D-I-E-N-C-E.
Yeah, really.
Obedience. It's not quite as catchy, is it? So sometimes faith needs risk. We take risks, we trust in God. And sometimes faith is all about obedience. So I would love to see more miracles. Wouldn't you? It'd be great to see miracles. But first I need faith, and I need to listen to God, and I need obedience. So when you read a gospel, do you ever feel like we should see more miracles? Because it feels like there's one every 5 minutes. You know, bang, 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 there's another miracle. But do you know how many miracles Jesus saw in his lifetime? No, we don't. We only know the ones that are recorded in the Bible. And in the Bible, there's about 37-ish Jesus miracles. Ish, because some of them might be more than the same one written twice in different ways, or vice versa. So about 37. So if Jesus saw 37 miracles, and if his ministry on earth was 3 years, then that would be 12.33 recurring miracles per year, which is only a tiny bit more than one per month. So how many miracles did the disciples see? Because not all the disciples were present for all of Jesus's miracles. So they probably saw one every 2 months or one every 3 months. And some of Jesus's followers, he left behind. They only saw one miracle, and then he said, I want you to stay here and tell the people here. And some of his followers saw no miracles at all. Yet, his disciples, his followers, lived whole lives of faith. They lived whole lives of risk and obedience for Jesus. God has great power. In fact, he's almighty. He has all power. We do not get to tell him when to use his power. What we do, like the disciples, is faith. We sometimes take risks because of our faith. We obey because of our faith. And we listen to what he is calling us to do. Now, I think we can manage that in this current situation. How long's it been going on? When it started, I thought it was going to be 2 weeks. Did you? It's been over 17, 18 weeks, I think. But we can't cook up a miracle. We can't control it. But we can have faith in God's love. We can have faith in his power. We can have faith in his miracles. And we can be willing to take those risks to obey him. We can obey what he calls us to do. We can listen for his voice and hear his call. We can obey his commands to love each other, to love our neighbours, to care for each other. We can do faith, and we need faith in these difficult times.